And joining me now on this special broadcast is Lieutenant Colonel Jonathan Conricus of the Israeli Defense Forces, currently a senior fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Jonathan Conricus, by now the country must have had time to assess the damage in the missile barrage, the attack that took place in the past 24 hours. How extensive is the damage in Israel? What's the extent of the damage, sir?
Yeah, well, that actually is the easy part. Thank you for having me today. That actually is the easy part because that's easy to measure. And the amount of damage is very, very minimal. Most of the incoming ballistic missiles that Iran fired, some 200 of them, were intercepted. And those that did indeed get through our air defenses and exploded, fortunately, did not cause any significant loss of life. There was one Palestinian from Gaza who was in Judea and Samaria, and he was killed. But other than that, no loss of life. That's number one. Number two, no significant damage to infrastructure. Definitely no damage to any military sites, Mossad headquarters, IDF, or strategic infrastructure. So all in all, the day after the attack, this massive, unprovoked and largest Iranian missile attack against Israel in history, I think it did not achieve anything for Iran. What it achieved was actually opening up a lot of opportunities and options for Israel now to retaliate against Iran.
Now, former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett called this perhaps the best opportunity in 50 years to target Israel and to take out its nuclear infrastructure. What are Israel's options? How will Israel respond in your military appreciation?
Yeah, so it really boils down to what is the Israeli strategy, as in what does Israel want to achieve long term, and how well will this strategy be coordinated with the US and other Western and regional powers. If Israel wants to bring about the demise of the Iranian regime, then that's a different set of targets and a different set of action. If Israel wants to crumple the Iranian war economy and make it difficult for Iran to continue to pump money and weapons into the hands of terrorists all over Western Asia, then that's a second set of targets. If Israel wants to take care of the menace of Iranian nuclear weapons, then that is a third set of targets. And thankfully, Israel has the capacity to strike these different targets. And it really matters what Israel wants to achieve and how big Israel's, so to say, appetite for direct engagement with Iran will be, and how strong the support will be from Western and regional powers in dealing with Iran. I think that yesterday's attack on Israel is an example for everybody around the world to see, in Asia and in the West, that Iran is a rogue, dangerous and aggressive regime that fires missiles, deadly missiles, the size of a school bus, 200 of them, at Israeli civilians, and that this is a regime that doesn't have the right to continue to operate as they do. And I think now is an opportunity for Israel, together with other freedom-loving democracies in the world, to change that.
But Jonathan Conricus, Iran's President Pezeshkian is warning Israel, if there is a retaliation, there will be a bigger retaliation, even a harsher punishment that will come from Iran. And in your appreciation, and since Israel studies Iran very closely, was this the best or the worst that Iran could do, or there's a lot more? Because there are reports that seem to suggest that they have a missile arsenal of over 3,000 ballistic missiles.
I think that the Islamic Republic of Iran are best in the world when it comes to sending others to fight for them, whether it's Palestinians, Syrians, Lebanese, or Yemenites. I don't think that they are very good. They don't excel at fighting themselves. So far, their two attempts to strike Israel have fallen very flat on their nose. The first time they got lucky and Israel didn't respond strongly against Iran because of American restraint. This time, they're not going to be so lucky, and Israel is going to retaliate. And when Israel sends its planes and missiles in the sky, they usually hit the intended targets. So I don't know what exactly additional capabilities Iran has. It's a big country with a big military, but I do know that Israel has the most advanced defensive and offensive capabilities capable of dealing with everything Iran throws our way.
Well, Israel has, as you very rightly pointed out, perhaps amongst the best air defense systems. You also have the US in the Mediterranean Sea helping Israel. But do you see more countries get involved in this? Now, the moment there's a direct strike from Israel to Iran, do you see other countries in the region perhaps getting involved?
There's definitely that possibility. I hope it doesn't happen, and I hope that there will be tacit and diplomatic support to Israel. But I think that we should try to avoid a regional and bigger conflict. But, to be honest, Israel has been attacked for about a year from 7 different fronts, all of them related to Iran. So this is really regional already, at the lower intensity, but it still is a very regional issue. Missiles being fired by Houthis from Yemen and by Iranian proxies in Iraq and from Lebanon and Syria, from all of the different locations.
So clearly, by all accounts, it appears it's not if, but when Israel will strike and strike back, and will it lead to a major escalation in this conflict. Jonathan Conricus for joining me here on India Today. Many thanks, and we'll be tracking this story very closely from all angles to get you a 360-degree perspective.